This episode is proudly supported by Pepe Sayer Australian Cultured Butter.
At Pepe Sayer, we focus on quality. So if someone comes into your restaurant and they see you're using Pepe Sayer, they know immediately that that is a quality product you've got in front of you on the table. And that comes from a decade of just doing quality butter day after day.
For more information, go to pepesayer.com.au.
Native Australian ingredients have become a huge thing recently, and they go hand in hand with gourmet foods because that's how they're viewed, I would say, by society.
This is The Producers. I'm Dani Valent.
Wiradjuri man Zane McMillan is the co-CEO of Uncle Charlie's, an Aboriginal-owned family company that makes popcorn seasoned with Indigenous flavours. Uncle Charlie's is a new company, but it's anchored in more than 60,000 years of Aboriginal connection to the land and has broad ambitions beyond offering a tasty commercial snack. It's as much about storytelling, connection and understanding throughout Australia and employment in rural New South Wales as it is about balance sheets.
So my name is Zane McMillan. I'm a Wiradjuri man. My family are from Dani, New South Wales. We are Uncle Charlie's Taste of Country. We are 100% Aboriginal-owned and a majority family-owned business. So we're a majority family-owned company. So I'm one of the co-CEOs. My dad is the other co-CEO. My auntie Bloss, or Faye, she is the other one, and Auntie Deanne. We do have another owner as well. But we're a majority family-owned business. We're 100% Aboriginal-owned. So me, dad, two siblings. And we want to get you nicely seasoned popped popcorn with all native Australian ingredients. And, get you to learn the stories about where these ingredients come from and the nations that have provided this food to you. We knew that we wanted a family-owned, and we wanted a family business where we could be connected together, and to do something that would be impactful and help a lot of people, help create jobs, etc. So we knew we wanted to use all native Australian ingredients. The idea was floated, I think, by my stepdad, Pete, that we should use popcorn. And it went from there. We tried all of our different flavor combinations. So we used the ANFAB flavor wheel to get all the different native Australian herbs and spices and start testing what combinations would work well together. We knew that we wanted at least 3 native ingredients per popcorn flavor. It was just a lot of trial and error, and we eventually found our 3 current flavors, and that is initially how it started. Lots of trial and error, that's what I would say, and a lot of learning along the way, but it was good.
Zane and his family used the ANFAB, Australian Native Food and Botanicals flavour wheel, to help develop their unique combinations. This sensory thesaurus offers a vocabulary for describing the aroma and flavour of native fruits, berries, herbs, seeds and spices.
So if you just Google ANFAB flavor wheel, it tells you a lot of primary Australian native herbs and spices and puts it together on this really nice colourful wheel to show you what would go well and what pairs well, and what category things sit with, because a lot of these ingredients, our popcorn will taste very different to anything you've tasted before. Australian native ingredients have incredibly unique flavors. And one of our other goals was, these flavors have always been here and always been used by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And, we wanted to show people what was already there. Using the ANFAB flavor wheel helped us out a lot in finding things that would pair well together. So you have bush tomato and river mint, which also contains a bit of pepper leaf and Murray River salt. But bush tomato and river mint are the two. We always wanted a primary flavor and a secondary flavor. That was what was recommended to us. Bush tomato has a nice savory taste, and the river mint is a beautiful mint. It's the best smelling flavor by far, I would say. River mint has a really nice smell. And yeah, bush tomato and river mint is a nice savory flavor. It would pair quite well with, I don't know, like maybe a gin and tonic or a glass of wine or something, if that's what people enjoyed. So that's one of our flavors. We have Davidson plum and finger lime, which is our citrusy flavor. It's like got a nice zest to it. It's our most colorful flavor as well. It's a nice pink, which comes from the Davidson plum itself. Really strong flavor, like I said, really strong citrusy, zesty flavor. It'll make you real thirsty real quick. This used to be my personal favorite flavor, actually, but then we rejigged how we did our seasoning a bit by adding some more salt and just finally blending the seasoning some more, and bush tomato ended up taking over being my favorite flavor, but Davidson plum is a nice close second. And then we have our most popular flavor, which is sunrise lime and quandong. This is a really nice, beautiful, sweet flavor. It makes you salivate. The sunrise lime is a sweet, citrusy flavor, and that quandong gives it a little bit of a nice aftertaste, I would say. It really sits with you, and like I said, it really does make you salivate. I think it's the flavor that most people like because it's not too different from what you've tasted before, but it's that nice in between of, wow, I've never had anything like this, but this is really nice. Yeah, sunrise lime and quandong is a good flavor. I hadn't really grown up with them just because they're not frequently used flavors. It's only been in the last while that I would say that, you know, people have realized what flavors have been here. And once we started getting into that and looking at the stories, which is another thing that we want to bring to people, is the stories of where these ingredients are grown. Stories of the nations that they're grown on. It wasn't necessarily something I grew up with, I'd say, but it's been a nice learning curve for me. And I think everyone in my family just gives you a bit of that connection to not just your own country, but the ingredients we're using aren't just from Wiradjuri country, they're from all over Australia. And yeah, it's been a nice experience. Growing up, I was always told that, just being a Wiradjuri person is part of your identity.
Being on Wiradjuri country is at the core of Uncle Charlie's as a company. But the actual Uncle Charlie, elder, relative, drover, traveller, entertainer and storyteller, also offers a connection to country and spirit.
So we pop and season it in Coolamon, which is where we've started. My aunt moved a few years ago. Coolamon is a town about 33 k's from Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. And we always had the idea that, we want to pop and season regionally, and that would be on Wiradjuri country. So Coolamon, and eventually we want to be in Trangie as well. And Trangie is a really important part of this whole product because it's where my family are from. So Uncle Charlie, the person that it's named after, the company moved there as a young kid with his siblings. And he was a drover of sheep and cattle and was kind of the face. Well, no, well, not kind of. He was and sort of still is the face of Trangie. They still have a picture up of him in the town itself. And he was a Wiradjuri elder, is a Wiradjuri elder, was fluent in Wiradjuri, and we thought that, he would be the perfect person to name the company after, just because he was a drover and traveled so far around. He got accustomed to all these ingredients and, the stories about where they're from. And he was known for being a happy man as well, really happy guy, fun guy, loved his movies. And that connection to Trangie for us is really important through Uncle Charlie and also with Dad and his siblings, because they grew up in Trangie. I didn't grow up in Trangie, but I have been there. But yeah, it's quite a complicated answer. I would say that's the best way of putting it, actually. Trangie is important, Wiradjuri country is important, and going back to what you were saying with growing up with these ingredients, even though it wasn't necessarily me, Uncle Charlie, who was my great grandmother's brother, got a good idea of a fair amount of these ingredients through being a drover, and that all comes back to Trangie, which is important to us, and what's all over our website as well is Trangie is an important and special place for us, just because that's where Uncle Charlie grew up and did a lot of his home. He was always known for having a smile. When I was saying before that he was a bit of a movie buff, he used to go to the cinemas, and I guess you'd call it heckling. They'd be watching Cowboys versus Indians, and he would always think where the Cowboys, where the Indians were, and he always used to hide behind the chair and pretend to, he messed around and pretended to be an Indian. I think he was a character. He wanted to be he wanted to be a cowboy or an Indian and make the kids smile. And that's, again, one of the reasons why he's so fondly remembered in Trangie and is the face of Trangie, because everyone loved to go to the outdoor cinema. And he was remembered for doing stuff like that.
Uncle Charlie's is a young business, and Zane has enjoyed feeling his way into the life of a CEO. It's been varied, exciting, and very busy. We
had to first create the company itself, which was more Dad's forte. That was Dad's thing. He was good at that. I initially and my aunts were just investors in it and believed in the idea and said, we believe in the idea of popcorn with all native Australian ingredients. Let's get it going. I don't remember the exact day. I feel like it was March or April last year when we started forming it itself, but we didn't really start popping popcorn itself until November. The first day that we popped was my birthday. So November 15th was the first day that we officially started popping some popcorn and trying to really nut out our processes and refine our processes for how we wanted to get things out to market. So the summer in between uni was really busy for me because there was a lot of driving to and from Coolamon to Forbes to Melbourne. Lots of driving to get corn and oil and, sorting out how we're going to season these ingredients, because it's one thing to try the ingredients with your friends and family in small amounts, but then once you have to bulk make it, that's another learning curve. Figuring out how to pop was really hard. In the popping machines, we had to buy all the machines, learn about which machines weren't so good to use, which were good to use, and then procuring new machines. Expanding the business, going to trade fairs has been new. We went to Supply Nation and the AGA Gift Fair. It's been a lot of learning, and we didn't start popping it till December, so we've done a lot in 8 months, and we've got our faces out there quite quickly, I would say. It's been good, but hard, but good.
Making the popcorn exactly the way they want it to be has taken many trials. It's a combination of automation, artisan ethics, and fun.
So we have 2 popping machines. They're kind of in this weird, it's not exactly a cylinder. It's kind of a cylinder with a rounded base that's like a hemisphere. We have 2 of those. We mainly just use one because we like to pop 1 kilo at a time with a certain amount of oil, so we have a nice refined recipe. We pop the popcorn in the oil and the salt, and these machines are perfect for that because pop a kilo, use an air compressor which makes the popcorn machine tip out the popcorn, put it into some buckets that are all food safe. We drain out the unpopped corn kernels, and these popping machines are good for that. We have a band sealer because we heat seal our bags. We don't like to wax seal our bags just because it's more environmentally friendly. We have a weigher, which was good for a while, but we're going to hand weigh the bagging for now, just because it's It's actually quite fun, to be honest. I like being in the popping room and hand weighing everything and then sealing it. It's quite good. Um, but yeah, at this point, we'd use three machines primarily, and yep, they were hard to source, and well, not exactly hard to source, but hard to really get used to them and start believing in them is what I would say, because sometimes machinery can be kind of temperamental. Nothing better than a fresh pop of yeah, some nice salted. Yep. It has this beautiful buttery taste and smell in the room is really nice. And then when you taste some of that fresh pop, it's really nicely salted with the Murray River salt. Murray River salt is a beautiful flavor. Um, Tastes a lot stronger than most salts, in a good way. If people like salt, they'll love Murray River salt. And one of the things that we want to work with more is, yeah, Murray River salt.
Uncle Charlie's carefully sources ingredients from all over Australia, deepening a network of connections. The possibilities for storytelling through popcorn are exciting.
We have Murray River salt, done along the Murray. I'll say we have ingredients from South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria. If you look at the lids that we have, the lids of our 20 gram, 100 gram boxes, if you open them up and put them on a scaled map of Australia, it shows you where the ingredients are from. And on our website, we're working on QR codes and geolocations to get nice, long, detailed answers to what you've just asked, where we're showing you where it's from, and not just the nation it's from, but who grows it and their story and how they came to be doing this and stuff like that. So yeah, we have food from all over, a lot of different nations, and we want to be able to tell people that, and we will through the technology that we're going to be working on suppliers or with suppliers on. We want it to be a nice festive thing, because you want to share happiness with your friends and family. That's a lot of what we want at parties. So the packaging itself, the base, the Coolerman, opens out, so it turns into a bowl. And the 100 gram box is great for sharing. You open up the lid, you take off the belly band, open up the lid, open up the box. You pour in your popcorn and you share it amongst your friends and family. That's the ideal situation that we would want. Everyone's having a good time. They've got this popcorn that for most people will taste different to anything they've ever tasted before, and sometimes smell completely different to anything they've smelt. And yeah, being happy and sharing the food is what we would want it to be.
Just 1 to 2% of Australian native ingredient businesses are owned by Aboriginal people. How important is it to Zane that Uncle Charlie's is an Aboriginal-owned business?
I would say, firstly, it's important to us just because that's who we are. That's how we've always been raised. So, my aunts, my two aunts, my dad, myself, always been raised as, Aboriginality and being Wiradjuri was just a part of our identity. So, just us owning the business in and of itself makes it, an important thing that we say, Aboriginal-owned business, working with all native Australian ingredients, being respectful of the nations that we're getting the ingredients from, and wanting these nations, not us telling stories for them, but wanting these nations to tell their story, and just us having us as that kind of medium to get their stories out there was really important and is really important to us. It also, I think, gives us a different perspective. For example, a huge part of Aboriginal culture, is country and connection to country and wanting to protect country. And that's why we try our packaging is environmentally, we want it to be fully 100% environmentally sustainable. The Coolerman is a Wiradjuri word, which means dish of bark or wood, is an important part of our packaging. And the 20 and 100 gram boxes that we have is biodegradable. The bags themselves heat sealed, like I said, and I think us being an Aboriginal-owned business really wants us to push that we need to be environmentally sustainable just because we want to protect country. And that, I think, is, yeah, definitely personified by us being an Aboriginal-owned business through that connection to country. The packaging itself is also, again, connection to family and country. It has designs by our good family friend Prue and my cousin Peter Joy. The base, it's hard to describe vocally the packaging. It's something that you just kind of have to see because it's really nice, beautiful packaging. The base, it has a lid, a base, and a belly band with a metal foil bag that's heat sealed inside. The base is embossed with weaving, and that weaving is what was designed by my cousin Peter Joy, and she has a nice company, Wiradjuri Wave, where she does her art, Wiradjuri art, and yeah, that again being Aboriginal owned, just those things. I think that a lot of subtlety, but at the same time with the packaging not subtle because it's such an important part, is, yeah, it's culminated by the fact that we are an Aboriginal business and we do believe in the things that we're doing in terms of protection of country and connection to family. And yeah, I don't think it's a common thing with other businesses, and I think it is what separates us, and we're proud to be that because that's just who we are and what we want to do, I would say. One of the trade shows we went to, Supply Nation, was all about bringing Aboriginal businesses together from across Australia, and networking with other Aboriginal businesses. So there is for sure a network out there for any other Aboriginal businesses that are starting up to tap into. You just need to look and have a search, and it's out there. And, you know, a great thing that we've learned about just being a small business in general is, you know, the willingness of other businesses to help you out. Like, if you reach out, you know, people will help you. And Gourmet Brands, our distributor, the largest Australian gourmet food provider, you know, you'd think that, oh, wow, you know, this company, they're so big and stuff like that, and they won't give us the time of day. And no, they do. Everyone cares about each other. They're more than willing to help. And that is the same for this Aboriginal network and Torres Strait Islander network of businesses. It does exist, and everyone is more than willing to help each other. It's been a really nice experience, and that's been a really nice part of starting this business, has just been seeing this network and this willingness to help each other. So yes, the network is out there, and it's a good one.
Uncle Charlie's is a new business with big ambitions. But where some companies are all about growth and efficiencies, Zane and his family have different hopes and dreams, incorporating ethics, employment, and inspiration.
I'd say our ambitions are a good tie-in with one of our big ethoses in our company, which is we want to be a successful and profitable company, but we never want to be, and this will be important because now it'll be officially on record, we never want to be we don't really want to do profit for the sake of profit, if that makes sense. Like, we don't want to be the kind of company that's like, well, we can automate this here to make us, you know, the owners and directors a bit more money, but forego jobs. We don't want to be a company like that. So we're doing well at that now, and I want that, and we want that to be an important thing that we have going into the future. We want to be a company that is regionally based, and we want to make as many jobs as possible just in these really difficult economic times. That's really important to us, and fueling the economies of Coolum and Trangie is going to be a huge thing for us. And we want to release new products. We have some nice new products in the works that we want to be out by end of year, that I think will be really cool. And we just want to be a successful, profitable, but at the same time, you know, environmentally sustainable and an ethical business that does the best thing by the people of Australia, both, you know, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, as well as just every Australian. That is really important to us. And that's one of the things that we founded this on, is just, we want to show people that we can be a successful business whilst at the same time doing the right thing, I would say. And that's what I would like to us. That's where I see ourselves, is we do be successful and we do the right thing. The opportunities, I think there are a lot, just depending on what you do with the business itself, native Australian ingredients have become a huge thing recently. And they go hand in hand with gourmet foods because that's how they're viewed, I would say, by society. It's a bit, these native Australian ingredients, they seem a bit special, even though they've always been there. There are lots of opportunities out there, I think, for new businesses, especially Aboriginal-owned businesses, because this, now that we've learned a lot after many mistreatments and stuff of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in the past, having stuff and businesses that are Aboriginal-owned and Torres Strait Islander-owned are so important, and the opportunities are there for people that want to get in on that. If you're an Indigenous person and you want to start a business and you believe in it, you can get it started, because there are a lot of opportunities out there. And in terms of difficulties, wouldn't be anything different to what you've experienced before. That's all I would say on it, probably. I don't want to be negative or anything like that. It's ultimately been a good experience. The opportunities are there, and when things get tough, in terms of being experiencing difficulties for being an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander owned business, it's nothing that you can't get through, is all I'll say, and you're strong enough to do it.
There are challenges and surprises aplenty for Zane as a new business owner. How does it feel to be a young CEO?
Feels pretty good, I would say. It's been interesting because when you're a small business, right? Like, even though I'm the co-CEO and everyone, I talked to, when I told my friends, because I'm only 24 and all my friends are all my age or a bit younger, from 20 to 25. You're going to say, oh yeah, I'm going to be the co-CEO of this business. And they're like, oh wow, that sounds so fancy and stuff. But because we're a small business, I'm out there in the popping room, popping with some of our employees, which I really enjoy. I think it's really fun. It's interesting because we're small, we have to do so much, and working with family has been quite good. It's a very different dynamic, which at times can be challenging, but most of the time is quite good. We get a lot done, I would say. And overall, it's been, an enjoyable experience, which I enjoy because I like being busy. So because we're small, there's just so many different things that we have to get around and so many things that we have to do, that it's been good, and it's been different to what I've learned before, because I've only just graduated uni and it's different to what I was doing in my degree. So it's been a good experience.
Uncle Charlie's is a contemporary company anchored in ancient culture. Dynamic and optimistic, Zane and his family are turning popcorn with native flavours into an Aboriginal-owned expression of pride.
This is The Producers, a Deep in the Weeds production. I'm Dani Valent. Stay tuned as we talk to some of Australia's best farmers, makers and growers. Follow us on Instagram at Producers Podcast, or contact us via deepintheweeds.com.au.